Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Pure Tarot. We're looking into your 2022 predictions. So your whole year, I don't know, at bird's eye view, high level view. So let me just get set up here. We're doing one card per month with only uprights. And then I'll be using a second deck to clarify with both upright and reverse cards. So let's see. What is 2022? That's interesting. Okay. Queen of Pentacles for January. The High Priestess for February. The Eight of Swords for, March. The Tower for April. Two of Swords for May. The Strength for June. The Star for July. Three of Wands for August. The Eight of Pentacles for September. Six of Pentacles, Six of Swords for October. It's in French, I have to translate. Page of Cups for November, and the Seven of Wands for December. I got lost in translation there. Okay, so I'm gonna start exploring, and I don't have a very set way of doing this, and it's fine that way. I like to go intuitively. But I will start with January. So that Queen of Pentacles could be you, right, Gemini? But it's not necessarily your element. So for now, let's just look at, you being someone grounded somehow, in absolutely no financial trouble. You're actually solid financially. And it makes you feel very confident in January. I don't know what happens at work, but you could be maybe quite busy at work, or just really invested in your work during the month of January. Let's just get a quick overview, and then we'll clarify anyway. So I'll be going back and forth. So the High Priestess in February. That's another interesting. It's an interesting contrast between the 2 months, because the first month you very much, your attention is turned towards more of the material side of life, right? Your resources, your chores, your responsibilities, your money, etc. And but in February here, it's like you, I don't know, I just got the, it's like I saw you walking into an ashram. So I feel like you're wanting to retreat. Obviously, it's not the Hermit card, but it's still an energy of being quiet, an energy of being, absorbed in knowledge and wanting to absorb more knowledge as well. It's an energy of, keeping to yourself, folding yourself back onto yourself kind of thing. Maybe you've extended yourself a lot through work. I was saying how busy and how invested you are in January. I think that you might need a vacation in February, and you're going to choose to really spend it almost alone, maybe, or at least with very few people, very few key people, and making sure that it's not really rest, but it's calm. It's a sort of, there's a contrast, so it feels a lot more calmer and much more this person sits in, perfect immobility, or so she seems, she more meditative, meditative, I can't say it really, contemplative, compared to the action-oriented Queen of Pentacles in Jan. It feels like you might want to, you know, study a particular subject, and by particular I mean niche, but I also mean most likely geared towards spirituality, definitely with a High Priestess, even esoteric, which is really, again, really interesting. It's like these two energies are like the two sides. It's like, this is you in real life, you know, like going about your business. And then there's a side to you where, you know, which is very Gemini-like. The other side of you where more hidden as well, right? That you keep to yourself, that you don't necessarily announce everywhere. But it's really, really deep, interested in deep subjects. Let's move on. Again, like I said, I'll get more maybe of what really happens during those months once we clarify. I just want to get a first impression. March is really different again. Another flip, another shift. It feels like a ricochet. You know when you throw those stones on the surface of the water? It feels like three different energies. So here, the Eight of Swords in March, for some reason, you're like all up in your head. As much as you needed rest here and you took that time for, you know, deep study, meditation, like some sort of replenishing your, you know, your energy, and like by contrasting having been busy with being, you know, more quiet, more tranquil, you know, like serene, more secluse. But then it sort of turns into this deep worry, and also the same kind of isolation or reclusion is starting to feel a bit daunting and a bit constrictive here, where you're basically hemmed in, or you feel like that, right? It's not necessarily true, but your mind is closing down. And it's really interesting because April is the Tower, so I think that you're sensing the ricochet. I mean, I could use the same analogy all the way to the Tower here, because it's like it flips. It's like all different vibes here, but you can clearly see it's like something is going on. There's like a progression. So being stable, grounded, busy, you know, fully into your everyday life, suddenly becoming a lot more contemplative, you know, deep thinking, maybe questioning life, wanting to explore through books and spirituality the meaning of life, and, you know, changing maybe your beliefs even around, you know, if you were very much more turned towards the material side of life, and then suddenly you decide to explore more of the spiritual side of things. I just don't really know what happens here in March. I'm going to clarify right away, because I'm trying to understand why it's making you go through a Tower moment. It's like, imagine it's this sort of constriction. It goes from wide, being abundant, to, okay, I'm gonna spend more time alone. I'm gonna, you know, narrow down on some subjects. But then suddenly the same kind of, initially it was a good idea, suddenly becomes this very tight spot where, you know, you're being pinched. And basically it's like you're driving yourself into this wall here with the Tower, and basically it feels like from having these two sides of, you know, or discovering this new side to life and to your personality and, you know, the things that you want to develop and explore for yourself. It does conflict you. I think that you are used to operating a different way, much more, you know, in relation to the 3D world. And then suddenly you're plunging into the 5D world and it's making your head spin kind of thing. And it's creating a collapse of your construct, right? The construct of how your life should be, what your purpose is, if even you thought or about having one prior to suddenly, you know, this new mind-opening or these new discoveries, downloads, and sudden interests for the esoteric and spiritual realms. But I think it's creating some sort of havoc. You're having like a split moment. You know, I find it funny because you're the twins, right? So I mean, it's almost Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but it's not even that. I don't think that these can, I mean, they have to coexist, and we all kind of coexist like that. You know, we live in the 3D world, and yet we're, you know, spiritual beings. But I think it's hard on you here, and I think you you might even choose to create your own disruption, your own destruction. You're probably choosing to eradicate a few of the structures you would have put in place, that, you know, is your life, right? That Queen of Cups in reverse, Wheel of Fortune, the Knight of Pentacles, and Strength in reverse. Ooh, Strength in reverse on the Tower. April's really difficult for you. It's going to take a lot of resilience, but I think also yeah, it's really like a split moment for you. I think it's almost like the world, the way you knew it before, is totally collapsing, and it's making you feel powerless. It's making you feel lost because you don't have your usual strength, your Queen of Pentacles strength, or groundedness and steadiness, right? So you don't feel strong anymore because things are collapsing around you. And I really look, this is the split here, because although the Queen of Pentacles is very resourceful, she's very unhappy emotionally. So all this, you know, the money, the career, etc., whatever it is that, you know, all of those things, or, you know, could be all of those things combined as well. There's something where you feel not in touch with your emotions, so you feel disconnected, and you've got all these walls, and you're protecting your heart basically, but you're also shutting yourself out. So you know that you're profoundly unhappy. And look, the Wheel of Fortune came out on the High Priestess. So this is what's happening in February. It's a huge turnaround. It's a flip. It's a ricochet. You're moving, but you're jumping, right? It's all these mini quantum leaps towards who you're becoming and towards your future. And the Wheel of Fortune is really auspicious here because this was meant to be. You were meant to have this shift. Maybe in a few years when you look back, you'll get the full picture of, you know, you might even find out, be able to trace back and see hints of what you couldn't see coming here, but from looking back, you can see, oh yeah, this happened, and now I can see the progression. I can actually see that it was bound to happen, right? And you see, it was coming slowly. It's a slow process, but it is all of this newness, and it's real newness to you. I mean, it's one thing to have like to dabble and to have light interests. And, you know, if you're listening to this reading already, then you are interested in these things to start with. But it'll get a lot more pronounced as the year goes by. And February is really like a game changer on that level. I mean, this is deep studying. This is getting deep into the subjects, okay? And slowly what's happening, like I said, it's that funnel effect of, oh my God, this is amazing. As much as this is amazing, you realize that there's really a disconnect within yourself. And it's hemming you, you know, it's hemming you in. Sorry. It's really not a comfortable place to be, right? Inside your head at the moment in March. And I think you can sense the Tower coming. I think that's it's also back and forth here. You're actually sensing that you can't go on the way it was before, and you know there's going to be a huge change. And sometimes when we don't make the change ourselves, you know, life makes sure that, you know, the change happens anyway. That's why it's so abrupt, and that's why it's sometimes not necessarily in the way that we want it or that we would have wanted it to be. It's usually or sometimes maybe, however you want to put it, a lot more, I want to say painful, but it's really just more intense, you know, like, and maybe a bit more destructive than you would have preferred, right? I mean, it's one thing to dissolve some structures, but it's another when all of your life, the way you knew it, kind of blows apart. So I don't know to which extent. I just know that it doesn't have to be physically around you. I don't think you lose your house. I don't think you lose your job. It's none of that thing, of those things, but it's definitely, it's within yourself. But it's so strong and it's so profound. It's so, it's really, it's kind of a revelation. I mean, if you start studying and meditating and etc., how can I say this? It's, well, like I said, there's no turning back. And also, we're talking experiments as well, right? So not just surface level knowledge. I think it's a lot of new energy for you. It's a lot to take in. A lot. the great thing is in May, you make a decision. There's no more ambivalence. I mean, somehow I want to say, how could there be if there was a tower moment and, you know, who you thought you were or who you were before it, you know, is gone and is changed, transformed. Let me pull a card right away. And then June, you have the Strength upright. So I'm really happy to see that, because as much as April was difficult with the, you know, you lost it here. I mean, you lost it in the sense of you broke down. Even that's what it is. You broke down. It's also your ego. I mean, this is Leo. Leo is the sun. The sun could be interpreted as your ego. It's one facet. It's not the only way to look at what the sun represents, especially astrologically speaking, but it does speak to your ego. And this is what it is. It's really moving from the 3D into the 5D, but like big time. And like I said, in flips, right? And it's coming fast. I mean, 4 months, 5 months, and it's done, you know. Not even, it's within these 2-3 months here. Let's say February to April. And then the Two of Swords here is it's almost like you are, well, first of all, you're, like I said, you see clearly, and it makes you decide this. Maybe you choose a side, you know, you choose, do you stay in the 3D the way it was, and you try to, you pretend and you try to forget that you even, you know, explored these subjects, and, you know, but it's impossible because your life does change, and so much so that it's irreversible, right? But I like the Two Swords here on this card, the depiction. They're not crossed, they're parallel. And they're really like twin swords. So it's almost like the Gemini side of you is very, it's clear. There's no, you know, for me, like an X is like a no. This is more like a yes, because it's like the road, you know, like if you were to draw, when you see the drawing of a road that goes all the way to the horizon, you know, you could almost picture that this is like the drawing of a long road, right? It's also, so that's interesting, the long road, because this is a journey. This is the you're on a journey, the yellow the yellow brick road. That's funny. I wanted to say something else. Hold on, let me get back to something is slipping away now. Oh yeah, the fact that because they're parallel, you know, they're almost like planted. I mean, obviously they're not planted on the drawing per se, but you can really imagine that they can be planted, and so they're more solid. So it's a good sign, because there's no confusion here. There's no ambivalence. There's no being closed off to, or blind, how do you say, voluntarily, you know, like kind of closing down. I mean, you did here, so I think you know better now, you know. And anyway, you went through the, you know, the whole of the how do you say, the sewing needle has the hole for the thread, right? So That's what it feels like. You went through that. I don't know the name of the... I know in French, le chat de l'aiguille, but sorry, don't know the word in English. And you see, you get all your confidence back once you decide and plant yourself firmly in one of the two. Well, not even, like I said, I think you're just much more you've sort of made peace with the dichotomy, and you're choosing the 5D world, and you're making the changes here in your life and breaking down. You broke down, but you're also, that's going to reflect back, and you're going to make different choices here, and it's going to affect your life, your physical life, your physical environment, I should say, in a positive way, right? You're making your life better. And I have, you see the Emperor here on the Two of Swords. So you know exactly what to do. Your decisions are clear. No one's going to tell you otherwise. You don't even need to ask for advice unless this is someone you can go to, but it doesn't feel like this on this read. And then on the Strength here, let's see what I can pull for you. The Eight of Cups in reverse. So, you know, you're not shying away anymore. You're not letting yourself down. You're not going to walk out on yourself, quote unquote. You know, it's it's really interesting. I mean, this is these two different sets of cards, right? I don't know if you can see the drawings properly. It's a really interesting mix. It's almost like in both cases, you know, like you do it drastically here with the Tower, but you're not, I keep hearing you're not letting yourself down. You're not letting yourself down. So it's really interesting because the Tower is a breaking down. So although something is breaking down inside of you, you're not letting yourself down, right? It's a recreation. It's a solidifying how can I say this? It's not really solidifying. It's more establishing firmly your thoughts, your decision on this whole thing. It's funny because I really wanted to move into quarters, and for you it's really a 6 months. The first 6 months is one, I mean, I did explain, like, I'm gonna say it for one last time, it's all a ricochet, right? On 6 months. And it really feels like there's a different vibe running through the second half of the year for you. So for you, it's biannual. Okay, I'm going to draw the clarifiers right away. That way I don't have to interrupt anymore. Okay. So July is the Star, August is the Three of Wands, and September is the Eight of Pentacles. You see, after the strength, June, July is strength and the star. So, you know, you're regaining your courage, you're regaining your confidence, you're regaining your faith, you're regaining your... you're regaining, obviously, you're healing, that's definite. But there's something else, let me just tap in. Because it is clarified by the magician, right? The star is clarified by the magician. So it feels like a rebirth, although this is not like the judgment card. It does feel like a rebirth. It also feels like you're regaining you're regaining control. But it's not the same kind of control that you had when you were more immersed on the 3D side of things, right? It's a new kind of control where you're working with the elements, you're working with spirit, you're working, you know, you're connected to both the 3D and the 5D here with the magician pointing up and down. So you're really understanding, it's almost you're healing the two sides of yourself that were really disconnected. Through the studying of all of these spiritual and esoteric subjects, you are going to go through a breakdown, quote unquote, but then you make this firm, very mature decision, or at least you regain balance and clarity here. But there's definitely a lot of willpower being applied, especially, you know, especially with the Emperor, you know. But May is really defining in terms of, at the end of that process is really May, and then June is the rebuilding where you regain your strength, you know, you're not letting yourself down anymore, you're healing, you're learning how to manifest more or better, more efficiently. And then the Three of Wands, you see, this is incredible. This is your direct manifestations. So this magician is absolutely, whatever he started manifesting here in July, your ships are coming in the next month, like right away. Like you get instant results, and then you get the Ace of Pentacles to go with it. I mean, it's really ironic that you'd be manifesting abundance and money after going through all this shift of, you know, being, wanting to sort of separate yourself from the materialistic aspect of, you know, of how you were seeing life and interacting with life, you know. So but it is a newfound or a new kind of abundance. This could take on the form of anything. It could also be simply put, like a new creative project related to money. I mean, it is a physical, it is something tangible that you are, you know, either starting or you're being offered to participate in. But symbolically, you know, it's really like the manifestations is being manifested, like literally being handed out to you. And, you know, as soon as you come out of that healing, so it's like you got it. You got you're a good student. September, I mean, there's just more money with the Eight of Pentacles in September. But what I really like to see is that there's a progression of whatever you started in August. You know, you're working very fast. You're, how do you say? You're steadfast, and you're working really hard at it in September. You're communicating, you're putting yourself out there, you're publicizing, doing a lot of public relations, networking, obviously. It's definitely most likely online. Something, you know, which business doesn't have an online presence now? That would, if it's possible, I'm sure it's possible, but it's less and less common, obviously. So it's really, really interesting in terms of this new, how can I put it? It does have the feeling of that rebirth, right? It's a 360 rebirth. So as you move into Q4, so October, November, December, so 6 of Swords. So you keep progressing, you keep moving on, you keep, you have your, how can I say this? It feels like, it does feel like traveling. But you do have the Ace of Cups in reverse here. So let me look at the other cards, because I think there's something else to be explored here and I don't want to speak too fast. Page of Cups in November with the 7 of Wands in December. It's funny because you get the 6 of Swords in reverse, you know, on the next month. This is a really, this is a different, something else is going on here. This is, this speaks to me about a relationship. So I don't know if it's a byproduct of, you know, you partnering up with someone in business and this is who it's talking about. I can't, it might be that as you were networking, you know, putting yourself out there, etc., you might meet someone. But this is a, how can I explain this? This relationship is complicated. It's complicated. So this Page of Cups, you have someone that's really admiring you. They're very shy. They're not coming towards you. They're staying sort of, you know, on the fringe there. They're like, how do you say, on the sideline or whatever. I don't think they see you as unattainable, guarded, difficult to attain, like to approach. You know, the 7 of Wands is a bit of defensiveness here, and they sense it, or that's how they perceive you. And they really feel like they wouldn't be successful, that they wouldn't have necessarily a chance. So that's one side of things. And, you know, it's also, I think they might be sensing that, you know, this progression, this traveling, this... So I don't know if you're traveling to see this person. I don't know if this person is traveling to see you. Or I don't know if it's business travels that are, you know, like I said, the byproduct of your new activities. But they do sense that you're also not very open to love at the moment, right? You're focused on going forward, keep... Like I said, the word progression, you know, it's, the wheel is gotta keep turning. It will keep turning anyway, but, you know. And there's the fact that there's the 6 of Swords upright here and then reversed. There's like a an initial step forward, but then there's a step backwards. So, and as much as there's a Page of Cups that is very opened, there's an Ace of Cups that's in reverse that is not opened to love. So it's like these two cards are contradicting themselves, and then these two cards are also contradicting themselves. So it's a really interesting crisscross, like double crisscross. And ultimately, you know, it's a bit of you sort of finish on a, it feels like I have the word stalemate, because, you know, it's one person is being defensive and one person is feeling defeated and unable to reach the other, unsuccessful at reaching the other. So it's a really interesting energy. I'm gonna pull. I was gonna pull, and then the last card of the deck just didn't come with the rest, so I'm gonna take that one, and it's the Chariot. Get out. Okay. That's funny. It's really funny. It's also funny that I said get out. It feels like a long distance relationship. It really feels like that distance is creating difficulties to even bring you together, right? And actually actualize in order to actualize the relationship, you know, make it manifest, like and you know, something of not of just in your mind, if you want. I'm just considering let me get one more card. I'm going to clarify the Ace of Cups in reverse for you. The King of Wands with the Two of Cups. So it's really interesting. You really do want love. You have a very poor self-esteem. And that's why you're unable to open yourself up. And unfortunately, I think that you're more focused on this progression. I think you're more focused on this new activity. I mean, you're fast at work here. This opportunity and the work that you're putting in, which you know how to do so well from, you know, your prior life, quote unquote. It's just, I think you're realizing that it's still, even having, you know, evolved, it still remains one of your focus, of your principal focuses, right? You kind of revert back like a default to, you know, your business knowledge and the way you used to handle, you know, making money, making a living for yourself. I mean, it's always a priority somehow to be able to shelter yourself, etc., etc., eat, feel warm, safe. I'm just trying to see if there's a message. I mean, I was trying to see if there was a message instead of looking at love, although it's clear as day here. I thought maybe I could draw some cards to develop more on the business side, but I mean, with the Two of Cups here, it's not letting me. It's really clearly pointing to a relationship. And it's really interesting because there's a lot of love. There's definitely incredible interest on both parts here, you know, yours and their and theirs. And, you know, the two Six of Swords and not being, you know, one upright, the other one reversed. It's almost like they're at odds. So you can clearly state that distance is an issue. And then the Chariot came out and it's definite. It's like, let's just, it's reinforcement, right? I'm going to draw one last card for you, and I'm going to draw one last card out of the first deck. And it's going to be a card for kind of December and after. Like, I just want to see, like, maybe give this mini love story a sort of an outcome other than this stalemate, this sort of, everybody's on their position, right? Everybody's, the defensiveness, and everybody's, everybody, you and this person, each of you are, how can I put it? You're both feeling like it's not going to work. And I wonder, I hope for you that it does. And we have the Empress. So it will work out in the end. It will grow. Love is going to find a way. This is a beautiful way to end the reading. And I just want to point out that you did start with the Queen of Pentacles, right? And out of all the queens, the one that is closest in nature to the Empress is the Queen of Pentacles. So you really have these particular traits of being someone, you know, that is business savvy, organized, resourceful, practical, very prolific, sensual, beautiful. It's a gorgeous energy, but it's also excuse me, a beautiful omen for your relationship. You know, it's interesting because I just did Taurus yesterday, and they had an incredibly strong reading. And but this reading for you, Geminis, is I mean, this is quite a transformation. And I mean, you get both this new project, this new endeavor online. You really created out of nothing, and probably somewhat out of, you know, somewhat out of this whole shift, inner shift. I mean, it's a direct consequence of everything that's happened in the previous months of the year. And you also encounter love, so it's a very jam-packed year. So there it is. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end. If you did like the video, I would appreciate if you showed me some gratitude and hit that like button. Do share and do subscribe if you haven't. So thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye, Gemini.